Hello everyone, Ariam here, and welcome back to another episode of Dinosaur Days. Today we're going to be talking about 3 different Tyrannosaurids, or animals that would have shown up to the T-Rex's family reunion. There are many Tyrannosaurids, but today I'm going to cover the Gorgosaurus, Tarbosaurus, and Daspletosaurus. First up is the Gorgosaurus. Gorgosaurus means dreadful lizard, and this dreadful lizard lived in North America during the late Cretaceous period, especially in the areas between Alberta, Canada, and the US state of Montana. This was a big fella, between 25 and 30 feet long and 2 to 3 tons. It's very closely related to another Tyrannosaurid, Albertosaurus, and some experts even consider the two somewhat of the same species, one being the junior species of another. As you would expect of a relative of the T-Rex, Gorgosaurus was likely one of the apex predators of its environment and likely preyed upon ceratopsians and hadrosaurs. In fact, Gorgosaurus shared environments with Daspletosaurus, the last Tyrannosaurid in this video, and even though these animals were very similar in size and power, they likely occupied different roles in their environments, and Gorgosaurus was much more successful. Next up, we have the Tarbosaurus, which means alarming lizard, and if that's not a fantastic name, I don't know what is. This alarming lizard lived about the same time as the Gorgosaurus in the late Cretaceous period, but it lived really far away, in Mongolia. Something interesting about the Tarbosaurus is that it's actually a Tyrannosaurine, not a Tyrannosaurid, because I lied to you in the title. This means that it's considered more of a genus name rather than a closer related name. So when you think of Tyrannosaurid, you think of related to Tyrannosaurus rex. This means Tarbosaurus is more of the umbrella term, like Tyrannosaurid. Moving through a lot of complicated prehistoric jargon, essentially a lot of scientists think that Tarbosaurus and Tyrannosaurus, aka T-Rex, are the same animal in different locations, if not very closely related, to the point where they might not even be considered different. Finally, last up we have the Daspletosaurus, which means frightful lizard. Man, all the names today have been fantastic. As I mentioned earlier, Daspletosaurus and Gorgosaurus were very similar and lived in a very similar environment, but there are differences between the two. While very similar in weight to the Gorgosaurus, Daspletosaurus was likely on average a tiny bit longer, hovering more towards that 30-foot range. However, there is a specimen nicknamed Pete 3 that was potentially 36 feet long and could have weighed up to 5 tons, showing that Daspletosaurus potentially could have been a good bit bigger. However, Daspletosaurus is not nearly as common in the fossil record as Gorgosaurus, showing that it wasn't as plentiful, at least not in terms of what fossilized, and potentially it was more specialized. So there are 3 more of the extensive family that is the Tyrannosaurids, or the Tyrannosaurines when we're including Tarbosaurus. So remember that these were more than just the T-Rex, there's a lot more to look at, and that should remind you to smile.